Hi, I'm Monica Stewart, prayer strategist, author, speaker, licensed minister, destiny doula. Today, however, I'm coming to you as your clarity coach, helping you to uncover truth, unlock clarity, and unleash destiny, one clarity cue at a time. Today, I want to name something we don't talk about enough. That's the fog. Those seasons where clarity feels out of reach, where life is cloudy and nothing seems to line up. But I have good news for us. The fog does not equate to failure. It's just a part of the process. 1 Corinthians 13, verse 12 says, "For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then we will see face to face. Now I know only in part, but then I will know fully, even as I have been fully known." Paul writes to the Corinthian church in this text about the supremacy of love over every other spiritual gift. And in this verse, he uses the metaphor of a dim mirror, common in the ancient world, where mirrors were made up of polished metal and reflected imperfectly. He uses it to explain that our current understanding of God's work is partial. It's not incompetent, it's just the nature of us being human. We see some pieces clearly while other pieces are still being formed. Clarity in God's timing is a gradual unveiling, not an instant download. Sometimes I know the fog is not just about not knowing, it's about feeling like we should know. And then it's also about the guilt that creeps in when we don't know. Womanist theologians talk about this kind of tension all the time because they are well acquainted with what it's like to navigate life without a clear map and still having to lead others, still having to nurture others, and still having to survive themselves. Dr. Renita Weems, in her work, Listening for God, says that life with God is often like trying to follow a conversation in another room. You catch some words, but not the whole sentence. So, what do? We lean in, we keep walking, and we trust that more will come into focus. Dr. Katie Geneva Cannon, she reminds us that in those in between spaces, you and I were still making holy choices. Even partial clarity can carry us forward if it's rooted in love, dignity, and truth. And our elders would often say, baby, you don't have to see the whole road, just the next turn. That's discernment in the midst of the fog. It's not passively waiting, but it is faithfully moving one spirit led step at a time. So now we see in a mirror dimly. That's partial clarity, but it's not brokenness. It's our reality as human beings. But the promise is that we will see face to face. We will come into a full understanding when God's purposes are fully revealed. And we will be fully knowing of God's plans and understanding of what God has intended, that our knowing will become complete even though right now it is incomplete. But God's knowledge of us in this moment is not incomplete. It is complete, total, full, loving, and secure. I know the fog tends to slow us down, but that's not always a bad thing. It also forces us to trust the next step instead of demanding that we see or know the whole path. The fog is often where God begins to form us before revealing the bigger picture. So here is what I want you to think about today. I want you to ask yourself where in your life you're frustrated by partial vision. I want you to inquire, ask, how might God be protecting you by not revealing everything just yet? And finally, I want you to ask yourself, what can you lean on in the fog that will hold you steady until more clarity comes? Here are some steps I want us to faithfully lean into once we've considered these questions. If we're going to live through it, I want you to begin to name it. Acknowledge that you are in a cloudy season without shaming yourself. Again, anchor yourself to what is already certain. Return to the paths and to the truths that you know. God is present, God is guiding, and you are loved. Move at the speed of grace. Take small spirit led steps without pressuring yourself to see the whole picture. Practice patient vision. Accept that some clarity comes only with time and perspective. Here's the last thing I'll leave you with. The fog is not your failure, it's your formation. So, God of the unseen and the unfolding, thank you for holding the pieces that we cannot see yet. When the fog settles in, keep us from fear. Teach us to trust the pace of revelation, to live loved even when we only know in part, and to believe that clarity will come in your perfect time. Amen. Go, go through the fog without fear, but faithfully taking the next step. Have an amazing day.